So, You Love an Alcoholic? Lessons for a Codependent. Written by Grace W. Roldson. Read for you by Angela Olfast. Stage 1. The Very Codependent Caterpillar. Every end is a new beginning. Crawling on the ground, craving a companion. The end of lying to myself. The end of skepticism. And the end of a life without tools. It's never too late to be what you might have been. George Eliot. Just when the caterpillar thought the world was over, she became a butterfly. Barbara Haynes Howitt, Ladies of the Borobudur. My first 3 lessons. Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Mary Oliver, The Summer Day. Lesson number 1. Admit the truth. It's okay to love an alcoholic. 10,000 hours? Right? I had, what theorists say, the 10,000-hour rule on the subject of loving an alcoholic. The principle says that 10,000 hours of deliberate practice are needed to become an expert in any field. That's about 90 minutes per day for 20 years. If greatness requires enormous time, I certainly ought to have been great at loving an alcoholic. In 1999, after being in a relationship for 3 years, I finally felt brave enough to attend an Al-Anon meetings for family and friends of alcoholics. I attended at the suggestion of my therapist, who was listening to my woes and recounts of my boyfriend's drinking habits and my concerns with it. I read a lot of the conference-approved literature, probably all of it, looking for answers for him. I went to meetings for 10 years, only getting a little bit of relief from my anxiety and still confused as to why I was there. At one Al-Anon meeting, on about the 10th year of attending, a pamphlet with the question, "So, you love an alcoholic," printed on it, stopped me in my tracks. I took a deep breath and swallowed hard. I was loving an active alcoholic. Yes, it took that long for me to see what was right in front of me. Silently, I struggled with this fact for a full 10 years in the program before I could ever speak up. I found this truth lodged in my heart. I sat in meetings with other women in a similar situation, yet I said nothing about my predicament. For 10 years, I just listened. I kept my own secrets, even secrets from myself. The word alcoholic was taboo to me. The word alcoholic had a stigma that I didn't want to associate myself with. My silence said that I believed it was not okay to love an alcoholic. I was silent because of my shame. The shame held me back from getting help. I had to admit what I was doing with my life if I could ever confront the issues. I discovered that I could only heal when I told the truth. Lying to myself didn't heal me. I was warned about lying as a kid, but it was only explained to me that lying to others is what mattered. I didn't know I could lie to myself. As an adult, when I was seriously sick one year, a wise medically intuitive woman warned me that liars don't heal. Ultimately, telling my truth set me free. It set me free to begin my healing process. I discovered that telling the truth to oneself is the start of the healing process. Admitting the truth set me free to love who I loved and heal what needed healing. My lesson number 1. Admitting the truth set me free. On the one hand, loving an alcoholic felt like I was a child that was doing something wrong. For the first time in my life, love itself felt not okay. Wasn't the main theme of a fulfilling life supposed to be love? A part of me, the stuffed in and shoved down inner self, was telling me that it was not okay to love this man. I had conflict. I felt like a tormented soul. I was scared loving an alcoholic. I was scared to tell the truth. I didn't want to admit this to anyone, myself included. How was I ever going to be able to stop loving him? After many unsuccessful yearly attempts to push this fact away, I came to realize that acceptance was the answer to my pain. I had to accept that I loved an alcoholic. I had to tell myself it was okay. It happened. It was okay to love an alcoholic. It felt true, and I did. I began telling myself it was okay to love an alcoholic because I needed to hear some reassurance from my own heart and soul before I could move past this shock. I had to know that it was okay to love who I loved because I had been loving him for a long time. When I admitted who I loved and that he was an alcoholic, shame welled up from within me each and every time because I was embarrassed by my choice of partner. My perfectionistic pride took a beating by being in the relationship. I know others saw the disrespect. Feeling like this love was a complete mistake triggered my fear of failure. What became irritating to my soul was watching myself continue to keep loving him over and over, and then loving myself less and less. I would stay in the relationship only to suffer more loss to alcoholism, hoping for gains. My soul recognized this and was silently suffering because I loved who I loved and didn't know how to change that. I felt humiliated by my life and my love. I loved an alcoholic. After declaring this truth to myself, accepting this, understanding how it all happened, and choosing recovery, I came to believe that it was okay to love an alcoholic. After accepting myself and my choice of love partner, I ended my inner torment and stopped berating myself every time I confessed he was an active alcoholic. I needed to reassure myself that loving an alcoholic didn't make me bad, wrong, or stupid. However, loving him did have me feeling brokenhearted. This also pointed out that I had some problems with love. I began to not just study alcoholism, but also codependency. Love or fear. Something about the concept of love shifted once I made peace with who I loved and what it meant. I had been loving an alcoholic for 15 years of my life, and when I was suddenly alone, abandoned, and pregnant with his child, I realized my love was really fear. Realizing that my ongoing love was really fear spun my head around. I questioned myself. Was what I felt so deeply for him just a private desperation and not really love at all? My brain couldn't comprehend love and fear being the same thing. Was my type of love, codependent love, really fear? What was love anyway? This story of mine about loving an alcoholic is a journey that I choose to share. This is not a how-to instruction manual written to influence you in a way that would cause you to not love an alcoholic anymore. This is not a how-to guide to get over him. I am not suggesting that you stop loving him. I do suggest a change in you, of learning to love in different ways and learning to love yourself. I found that resisting the truth of loving him, only led to it persisting painfully. I found peace not by repressing my love, but by transforming my love and expressing it through prayer. I achieved peace by curbing my compulsions and not giving in to urges of what I had been calling love. I also changed my definition of love. I learned that having a new meaning for love and changing a definition in my mind and heart takes time. I struggled as my beliefs took time to change because I learned that my beliefs were the product of the thoughts that I kept thinking. I discovered that on the other side of changing beliefs was my transformation. Transformation took time. Time took time. I learned that for me, it took a long, long time and several lessons along the way. Loving the alcoholic was so hard for so long. I began thinking that there might be something wrong with my concept of love in general. Loving an alcoholic felt like a jail sentence. This love held me a prisoner. I wanted to believe that real love must be peaceful and not this chaos of alcoholism. After enough time in this painful relationship, I was willing to try out new kinds of love and give myself a chance for it. I decided to believe that real love must feel freeing and not anxiously depressing. So, I needed to stop loving in the ways that caused me harm and heartache. I looked at how I acted out my so-called love in my relationship. I looked at my so-called loving actions and realized I was enabling him. So I stopped. It was a start in the right direction when I looked at my actions of love that no longer served my new desire of becoming healthy, whole, and happy. I began to realize that my love and loving actions may have been harmful to us both. I loved him in 100 ways that did not work. My next realization was that it's okay that I love an alcoholic, but I didn't have to live with him, put up with him, take him back, allow him to treat me badly, or listen to him. I made a decision to stop with the alcoholic. I forced myself. I made a decision to wait, have patience, and seek a new kind of love. I adopted a type of love that let him go so that he was free to live the life he wanted to live. For so long, I was not okay with letting that happen. I was not okay with letting him go on his path the way he would choose. I was afraid. So who was the prisoner, me or him? I discovered that by setting him free, I set myself free. I found this new freedom terrifying because it opened my life up to the unknown. I had many fears about not knowing things for certain. I had to face various new forms of fear. However, with this freedom came different possibilities for my life, rather than the limitations that the unhealthy relationship held. Still wondering, is this really love or is this fear? It became important for me to begin to know that there was a difference between fearing and loving an alcoholic. Sometimes what I was calling love was really my fear portrayed as caretaking, saving, and rescuing to avoid pain and problems. Oftentimes, the ways I loved him was actually my fear of him and for him. I found myself professing my love, but I love him so much, to friends, as an excuse to not fully let go. I believed that they couldn't understand my reasons for staying with him or going back. By saying I loved him, it was the same thing as saying, I am so scared to lose him, or I am afraid to be alone or confront the change it will bring in my life. I had to start asking myself, is this really love or is this fear? My fear of leaving the alcoholic was always tied with loving him. Another variation of fear that turned up in terms of loving an alcoholic is the fear that all my suffering and efforts were for nothing. I dreamed up jealousy that another woman would come in and take my place and receive all the happiness with this man that I worked so hard for once he was cleaned up in AA and sober. Yet another variation was that I would miss out on our happily ever after together if I let him go to seek his version of happily ever after with alcohol. Fear of missing out was sometimes the biggest fear of all for me. People have a hard time letting go of their suffering. Out of a fear of the unknown, they prefer suffering that is familiar. Thich Nhat Hanh. However, I would hear other women's stories of a 25-year marriage to alcoholism that would sober up this thought. Then I would wonder if I would just be missing out on more pain with the alcoholic. Truth was, I was holding on for dear life to this man and relationship out of fear. I had been betrayed and humiliated by this man's actions and behavior, but I continued to stand there, even though I was ashamed just to be with him. That was my fear in freeze mode. Basically, when all my logic and good sense was gone, I felt pathetic because fear was keeping me in the relationship, not love. Fearing my alcoholic was an important awareness. Fearing that he needed me in order for him to stay alive and be cared for, or fearing that I needed him to stay alive, was fear. Mothering a grown man, I concluded, is not love either. It certainly didn't feel like a romantic love when I took the role of mom for him. I found myself performing nurturing type of acts as if he were a small child, and it felt strange. I had crossed over into mothering and the relationship dynamic got mixed up. Fear was harmful to us both. I was afraid just as a mother would be for her son. Loving him enough to let him go, on the other hand, was going to take a form of profound love. Trusting that he and I would be in a higher power's care when we both parted paths was love. Trusting that it would work out in the highest and best for all concerned when I acted out of love and let him go, instead of holding on for dear life, was love. When my new way of thinking about love set in, and I began new actions of love, I was able to handle the fear with the use of love. I was able to face the loneliness, sadness, and grief that came when I disconnected from the tornado that is him and his life, because it was out of love. I was able to think thoughts of hope, love, and compassion for us both because my reason was grounded in love. I was able to send a Christmas card with serenity and not try to spend a Christmas with him in disappointment. Things changed for the better with each new practice of loving him, yet being detached from his alcoholic world. I began practicing detachment with love. When I confessed to my sponsor in recovery, I don't think I loved him at all. My definition of love changed once again. My sponsor said, "We love with the capacity and definition of love at the time, and that changes." Hearing those words helped me release the shame of spending my love on an alcoholic. I loved the best way I could at the time. With the help of recovery, I learned to love the alcoholic, but hate the progressive disease of alcoholism and what it had done to him. With even more time, I learned to love myself and stop fearing life. This is where I truly needed the 10,000 hours of experience. So I asked myself, if I am this capable of loving an alcoholic so much, imagine how awesome I could be at loving myself. Relationships are eternal. The separation is another chapter in the relationship. Often, letting go of the old form of the relationship becomes a lesson in pure love, much deeper than any would have learned had the couple stayed together. Marianne Williamson. Giving is getting. Be part of the solution. Support this author's mission to help women and mothers in need. Grace needs your support. Please consider donating to author Grace Rolson's mission. As a content creator on YouTube and other social media, she is dedicated to helping the underprivileged and disadvantaged women and mothers. Grace gives out many free resources. Please support her valuable work by being a patron, and in return, get access to exclusive vlogs, discounts on her training programs, Zoom links to member-only groups, and be a valued member. For as little as $1 per month, you can support her via Patreon. By attending her free Zoom support groups and book clubs, you get your donations worth. Links to her pre-registration signups for Zoom groups and workshops are available to all Patreon members who donate to Grace. She is counting on your support to keep offering these much-needed resources. To help this author help others, please visit the link provided below. Your generous gift will encourage her and validate this mother on a mission to raise awareness of alcoholic codependent relationship dilemmas for trapped women and family court or legal abuse being done to mothers by narcissists. Her goals include sharing her honest testimony, raising awareness, creating free pamphlets to be distributed to domestic violence agencies and those in need, producing more free PDFs, offering free video trainings that can be used to educate trauma-informed therapists, counselors, and coaches on how to help victims of narcissistic abuse and more. Help this brave and courageous mother keep delivering the truth and standing up for what is right. Knowledge is power, and we can give this power to the victims with education, awareness, and support. Grace thanks you for your contribution. Any and all donations are appreciated. Become one of Grace's valued patrons. Give below. Also by Grace W. Roldson. I loved an alcoholic, but hated the drinking. 11 Essential Strategies to Survive Codependency and Live in Recovery with Self-Love. Co-Parenting with a Narcissist. 7 Self-Rules to Stay Sane. A Survivor's Story. How to Fight a Narcissist in Family Court and Win. Super Smart Strategies for Success. And Co-Parenting with a Sociopath. Survival and Sanity Guide. Available on Amazon. Coming soon. A companion journal and workbook, as well as a 365 daily meditation reader.
Do you love an alcoholic? Do you suffer from a lack of self-love? What is the lack of self-love costing you? Do you suffer because you can't focus on yourself? Are you serious about wanting healthy change in your life? Then get started with the Self-Love Solution. Find out what self-love can do for you. Sign up today. This is the Self-Love Solution Starter Series, designed to get you started. It's a simple mini e-course sent right to your email. This is brought to you by the author of the book. So, you love an alcoholic? Lessons for a Codependent by Grace W. Roldson. The book is available on Amazon. Self-love is where it's at. Self-love is not selfish, it's self-care. Self-love has power. It has the power to rebuild and regain self-esteem. Healing the hurt caused by the lack of self-love is a process. Sometimes we need help getting started. A supportive, solid structure can really provide the foundation we need to begin our own personal transformation. Let this course be your guide. The thing is, our healing is our responsibility. To heal, we have to bring our attention to ourselves. Learn to step out of the problem and into the solution, the self-love solution. Why the self-love solution? 1. Because when you have self-love, you create self-care. 2. You deepen your sense of worthiness. This program is for you if you have been looking outside yourself for love. You've been focusing on others, never putting yourself first. You tend to make self-sabotaging choices that lead to self-destruction. You want to practice self-love so you can harness its power for your life. Get started with the Self-Love Solution. Find out what self-love can do for you. Are you suffering from codependency? Has your self-esteem taken a nosedive? Need to shift your focus back to yourself? Don't know how to practice self-love? Take this 3-week mini-course and get started shifting into the self-love solution. Go at your own pace. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. For only $25, get started doing the necessary work with this easy online program. In this online program, you will get 3 emails, 1 per week, with simple, easy action steps and the chance to do some much-needed self-reflection and start shifting to self-love. 1. Read. Read the email to shift your focus and get your mind geared towards a self-focus, which gets you started on a path to self-love. 2. Do. Do the soul work and self-reflection journaling assignments. Simply write out or type your answers. 3. Submit. Send your answers to the author or a private group and mark completed. You have a full week to complete this, and the next week's email will automatically be sent to you. Generating self-love is the most important self-work that you will ever do. Here's a bonus. Be invited to author Grace Roldson's exclusive private Facebook group Self-Love Solution Support Group and be able to share your goals, insights, struggles, success, and completion of assignments with others on the same healing path. Get encouragement and share the amazing work that you are doing. Start today. A special note: please wait 1 hour for your product to show up in your email inbox. Be sure to check your spam or junk folders, just in case your program is there. Disclaimer: this self-love email online course is written by award-winning author Grace W. Roldson based on her experience and opinions only. This online email series is not intended to cure, treat, mental illness, depression, anxiety, or problems that require professional help. Please contact your doctor for help and referrals that need professional medical care or treatment. Please also contact your local domestic violence agency if you need therapeutic or crisis support. This is self-help/self-study, and not a proven method of help and healing. Please reach out to qualified mental health practitioners who have proper credentials and certifications to treat various conditions. You may need help establishing self-love. The author is not liable for any harm, injury, or damage as a result of participating in this online program. Sign up for this course today and start stepping into the self-love solution. Look for the link below and the coupon code to get money off this program. Remember, self-love is the most important work you will ever do for yourself. So, give yourself this opportunity. You can learn to love yourself.